Norman Conquest. Asserting royal authority. After the Norman Conquest in 1066, William I sought to firmly establish his royal authority across England. One of the primary methods he employed was the introduction of new laws, which served to consolidate his power and control over the Anglo-Saxon populace. These new crimes were designed not only to maintain order, but also to specifically benefit the Norman elite and suppress any form of resistance. This marked a significant shift from the more localized and customary Anglo-Saxon legal traditions. For instance, the Norman legal system often prioritized the king's peace and property rights above all else, leading to harsher penalties for offenses that might have been treated less severely before the conquest. This emphasis on royal authority fundamentally reshapes the concept of crime. The Royal Forest Laws. Creation and impact. William I introduced the Forest Laws in 1072, designating vast areas of England as royal forest for his exclusive hunting use and that of the Norman nobility. Approximately 30% of England's land became royal forest, a significant portion that drastically altered land use. These laws made it illegal for village communities and farmers to graze animals, kill wild animals, or take wood from these lands without a license. This directly impacted the livelihoods of many peasants who had previously relied on these common lands for survival. The forest laws were enforced by special foresters who were often feared for their harsh treatment of offenders, including severe punishments like blinding or castration. This strict enforcement aimed to deter any infringement on royal hunting grounds and assert Norman control over resources. Forest laws. Social crime and resentment. Despite the severe penalties, many Anglo-Saxons did not view breaking the forest laws as a legitimate crime. Instead, it was considered a social crime because it was widely accepted by the community as necessary for survival. Peasants, who had historically relied on common land for food and resources, found themselves forced to choose between starvation and breaking the new laws. This created deep resentment towards the Norman rulers and their oppressive policies. The widespread hatred for the forest laws meant that those who broke them were often protected by their communities, making enforcement challenging for the Normans. This highlights the cultural clash between Anglo-Saxon customs and Norman legal imposition. Rebellions, suppression and devastation. The Norman invasion faced significant resistance from the Anglo-Saxons, leading to large-scale rebellions, particularly in regions like York and East Anglia during the early years of Norman rule. These acts were seen as direct challenges to William I's authority. William I responded to these rebellions with extreme brutality, imposing the death penalty on rebels and punishing those not directly involved. A notorious example is the Harrying of the North in 1069 to 1070, where William ordered the systematic destruction of farmland, livestock, and villages. Estimates suggest that this scorched earth policy led to the starvation of up to 100,000 people in the affected areas. This horrific act served as a stark warning against further resistance, demonstrating William's ruthless determination to assert control and define rebellion as a capital crime. The murdrum fine, reinforcing Norman supremacy. The murdrum fine was a new law introduced by William I to protect his Norman followers and assert their superior status. If a Norman was murdered by an Anglo-Saxon and the culprit was not found, the entire local hundred, an administrative area, was collectively fined a large sum of money. This law made the murder of a Norman a far more serious crime than the murder of an Anglo-Saxon, reflecting the new social hierarchy imposed by the conquest. It placed collective responsibility on Anglo-Saxon communities to ensure the safety of Normans. The murdrum fine served as a powerful deterrent against attacks on Normans, and reinforced the idea that the Normans were the ruling class, whose lives were of greater value under the new legal system. It was a clear example of how laws were crafted to benefit those in power.